Yo guys, what's good, what's happening, and what's going on? Well, today the weather sucks, but not really. It's nice because it's actually kind of cool out. Yesterday was hot as hell. It was friggin' 28 degrees Celsius, sunny. It was just crazy. But yeah, today's a wet one. Hey, my blue box is finally empty. Nice. I can go pick that up once the weather stops spitting. Anyway, because last night was such a nice night, like there was literally no wind. Well, there was a little bit of a breeze, but you know, nothing substantial. The water was like glass, like it was not a wave in the water on nip, which is a rare sighting. So I was like, you know what, 7:30, let's go out and see if we can get the night bite on. Well, the night bite was on, but they weren't picking up what I was throwing down. Guys, I need to reinvent my fishing style. Because I normally just target bass, finesse fishing hasn't quite been my, style. I'm a better bass angler, but who isn't? Bass are easy to catch, right? You know, you just dangle something in front of their face and they eat. But yeah. Right now though, bass aren't biting because they're still in spawn. So the only way to get a bass to bite up here in North Bay, where bass are legally targetable right now, is by scouting the water, looking for beds, and then putting like a crawfish or a creature bait on that bed in hopes the bass picks it up. Now, because of the underlying infestation of carp in the lake, I kind of don't want to do that because, like they say, if a bass is off its bed for more than 40 seconds, that bed is basically ruined because something's going to move in there and clean out all the eggs. I try to avoid doing that. I try to avoid using slow moving baits that I can accidentally drag across a bed that I can't see from the dock so that this doesn't happen. But last night what I was fishing with was a jig and a swim bait, but it didn't work. Now, I've had it work at sunset before with this exact same setup, a jig with an underspin and a swim bait, sail it out, slow retrieve it back, and it gets hit by a Walter on the way back. However, this time that wasn't the case, and I did, however, manage to catch something which blew my mind. So I managed to catch a clam. I've never caught a clam before. This was definitely one of the weirdest things I've ever caught, because when a clam, I guess, clamps down, because they don't really bite, right? When a clam clamps down on your lure, I don't know how, but it hangs on to the ground. I don't know if they have some sort of grippers or what the dice is, but they're open shell on the ground. The moment something comes across it and goes, it's like a bear trap basically. So I can imagine stepping on one of those would suck, because it had one hell of a hold on the jig head, not the hook. It didn't get the hook, it got the head of the jig. That was not an easy removal. I literally had to pry that little clam open to get it to release my friggin' jig head. But I've never caught one of those before, and I wasn't sure what the frick to do. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a new find. But yeah, when they clamp on, it's weird because you feel the hit in your line, and then it feels like you got a snag, and then all of a sudden it just comes free. So I don't know how they anchor themselves to the bottom of the lake, but they do. So that's a thing. Anyhoozle, there were people there that were actually catching fish. They're catching walleyes, and they were using a device called a Pickrol Rig, which basically is a tie-on attachment with a T-bar on it and a line coming off the T-bar. Then on the bottom of the T-bar, you attach a line with a weight so that your bait literally stays suspended off of the ground. If you're using something like shiners, minnows, suckers, whatever the case may be, they can swim around freely around the rig and should attract a hit. Now, it's not an action, like it's not an action lure or a rig. You literally sail it out and then just leave your rod alone until something hits. To me, that's kind of boring, but everybody there was catching last night but me, using Pickrol Rigs. So I got thinking, how much is a Pickrol rig? Where can I get them? Well, Canadian Tire has them, Walmart sells them, and then I looked up online how to make your own. And that's where I came up with this design that I already lost. No, I found it. I took some steel wire and I made this, which it will not focus on. I made this setup here. Tie your line off of here, tie your weight off of here. I got some 20-pound monofilament attached to this lead here. It is actually pretty sturdy and it does spring back into shape. And I just used some steel wire, the same wire that I normally use for doing screw eyes on my lures. And yeah, I just got to tie a hook onto this monofilament, and I'll be ready to test this out to see if it actually works. I'm sure somewhere in one of my Plano boxes I have an old Pickrol rig, and I know if I go to like Canadian Tire or something, I'll easily find them. People use them for catching walleye, for catching pike, for catching bass, apparently. Now, the only thing I don't like about pickerel rigs in general, if they break, like let's say a fish eats and you start reeling it in, normally pickerel rigs will have 2 hooks on them, one on each side. So instead of being like a T-brace, it's like a plus, or there's a T-brace at the top, and then further down there's another T-brace off to the other side. My biggest thing, and this actually happened, is if let's say a fish eats and you're reeling it in and that secondary hook catches something and you snag and then you break off. Now you have a fish stuck in the bottom of the water to a rig and can't get away, and gradually that fish will just die because of your rig holding it still, unless it can somehow work that hook out. And in the case that happened to me, it didn't, because what happened was I was fishing down at the point, not last year, the year before. I sailed a shot out, Senko on a EWG. I snagged, well, I thought it was a snag. I started pulling and I could feel something giving, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I caught someone's line. So I started working it, snap, 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 doing the old rod snap, trying to get it to come free, and finally something broke free, and out came a bobber. A bobber just floats to the top, and I'm like, what the frig did I catch? Like, why is there a bobber down there? And then I keep reeling it in, finally whatever I was hooked onto breaks free, and out comes a pickerel rig with a bass, a dead friggin' white as hell, chewed on by the underwater creatures, bass. So I took the fish off, threw it back in the water because, well, something's gonna eat it, probably get sick from it, but whatever. Threw it back in the water, went back to fishing. I kept the pickerel rig. It's somewhere in one of my Planos, like I said. But this happens a lot with pickerel rigs, and the reason being is usually it's the weight at the bottom that gets snagged and not really the hook, because the line should never touch the ground, and when your hook's tied on, theoretically it shouldn't be able to wrap around the main shaft, at least from the ones I've seen. The line coming off of the side shaft is usually short enough where it can't wrap around the main shaft. However, people tend to use some pretty high test line off the bottom to the weight. So what I'm probably gonna do is put some 6-pound, maybe 8-pound test tops on the bottom, using 30-pound test for my main line, and send that out just to see if my little idea of a homemade pickerel rig will work. I don't know when I'm going fishing next, but I'm probably gonna go pick up some pickerel rigs as well. I do have all those worms downstairs, so might as well burn through them and just see if we're able to catch some Walters, right? Because, freak's sakes, I got to be able to catch some damn fish. This is getting out of hand. This is really getting out of hand. But yeah, everybody was catching last night, and they're all using the pickerel rigs. Some people were just using a jig and a worm, sailing it out, letting it sit on the bottom, letting it get picked up. But not me. No. I was using a Guggen saucy swimmer and a freaking underspin jig head, which amazing for bass. Bass will slay those all day long, every day. But the walleye weren't having it. But I have caught a walleye at Sunset Park using that setup, and it was back, I was doing a challenge a while back where it was I can only eat what I catch for 72 hours, and luckily that happened, as well as a pike, because that gave me 2 fish in 72 hours to consume, and lo and behold, it was really good. It was really good. I really needed that fish. This weekend is supposed to be good, but Saturday I'm a little bit preoccupied. From noon till 4, I'm down at the Northern Tsunami studio for our martial arts grand opening. So that'll be a thing. So we'll be doing some demonstrations and stuff so that people off the street can probably pop in and see what the frig the martial arts is all about, modern arnis, because honestly it's not well known, and Coach Chris is the only one in town allowed to train it under the WMAA. So we got people coming in from Deep River, we got people coming in from Sudbury, we got just a whole bunch of support coming in to help put on a good show so that we can get the old ball rolling and hopefully pick up some new people, some new martial artists, if you will, because that'd be friggin' sweet. Get some new blood on the mats, But we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'll be down there Saturday till 4. And I'm probably afterwards, we're gonna head out fishing. Get that ball rolling, get some fish on the line. So yeah, I'm also thinking on Saturday what we're gonna do is, I've been using the bait caster, and it's not exactly the ideal finesse rig. Mind you, it doesn't matter what you use, right? Fishing is fishing. You can catch fish with a stick and some twine. You can catch fish with some twine alone, just sailing it out and slowly retrieving it. Doesn't matter what rod and reel you use, the fish have no idea. They're not gonna be like, I'm not eating that, bro's got a bait caster. They don't care. They really don't care. Use what's comfortable. But I want to try the spinning setup because apparently they're better for finesse. I don't understand how. Maybe it's the way they retrieve. Maybe it's the way they cast. Maybe it's just what people say. Fish will bite if the presentation looks appetizing, right? That is the way it is. If the presentation looks like something they want to eat, then they're going to choke it. And if it doesn't look like something they want to eat, then they're going to ignore it. End of story. That's how it works. At least in my mind anyway. So we'll have to give the new rig a try. I do want to go to Walmart. Probably going to do that on my lunch. Head out to Walmart and see a guy about a horse. Nope, that's not what we're doing. We're going to see a guy about a pickerel rig. I'm going to pick some up. And then we're going to retool the old fanny pack there for some pickerel rig fishing. I got that quantum rod that I'm going to test out and see if it holds up. Hopefully it does, because I really don't want to be using that 6-foot ugly stick. I'd like to get another spinning ugly stick. If that quantum snaps like all the other ones did, I'll probably just go out and get an ugly stick, like a 7-foot ugly stick, and put the reel on it, because the reel itself is pretty decent. It's a quantum reel. I've never had a problem with quantum reels. Quantum reels have been great. They hold up, they do their job. It's the rods that suck. And it's funny because I found another reel in the garage and I'm like, where the hell did this reel even come from? And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And then it clicked. It was the reel from a telescopic that I bought 2 years ago, a quantum telescopic. I brought it down to the lake. Warranty was up on it. I couldn't return it back to Canadian Tire. But no, it wasn't even, it wasn't a quantum telescopic. It was just a quantum rod. The rod broke. I just ended up throwing the rod in the garbage. I didn't realize you can repair them with an Amazon kit for $5. Comes with these like carbon tubes that you can just you cut a bit of the rod end off that snap, get it nice and straight, and then you just feed this tube into it and it makes a solid bond. And then the action's a little stiffer on the end of the rod, but it gets it back in order so you're able to fish with it again as a quick, easy peasy lemon squeezy kind of repair. It also comes with eyelets in case you lose your eyelet or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, I just have bad luck with quantum rods, but we'll give this one here a try. The quantum metrics, you know, they sell them for $100. You'd think they'd be a good quality. When you're getting a combo for $100, they come on sale all the time, mind you, for $50, but if you're getting a rod for $100, if you're paying the wholesale freaking price, you'd expect the damn thing to not suck, but you never freaking know. Alrighty guys, it's freaking lunchtime. I'm gonna take a rip over to Wally World, see a guy about a pickerel rig. I know I won't be using them today. Probably not tomorrow either, because it's supposed to be wet today, wet tomorrow, but Saturday should be nice and Sunday should be really nice. And I think pickerel rigging will be a good way to hopefully get something substantial on the board. Like I said, I got all those worms in there, so that should be good. I might as well grab my blue ball. Yeah, I'll grab it right. No, I'll grab it on the way back. Let's just go to Walmart and get what we need to get. Let's just get this show on the road. On the road. Got the show on the road. Yeah, eh? Get the show on the road, eh? Camera, look at me. I'm the vlogger. I discovered that if I put the mic over here, it doesn't interfere with the seatbelt. And then you guys don't hear clickety, clackety, clackety, clickety. Pretty sweet, right? See, I'm learning. I'm learning how to do this again. Look at me go. I deserve a Nobel Prize. No, I don't. Wow, I did a horrible job on my front lawn. There's like strips that are not even cut. Oh, well, who cares? But yeah, so yeah. Also, guys, I found out what was going on with the webcam on the streaming computer. See, Windows 11 has this selective USB shutoff feature that doesn't work worth a shit, at least in my experience anyway. And what it'll do is to conserve wattage, because, you know, desktops need to conserve wattage for all that battery life they're hooked up to. It will reduce, it'll basically shut off USB ports until they're called upon. Now, I didn't realize this was happening until after not using my gaming computer because I haven't been streaming as much lately as I have been, you know, when I was on vacation. I was streaming pretty much every night, playing Schedule 1, Drive Beyond Horizon, Finland Cottage Simulator, all those whacked out wackadoodle games. I haven't touched the computer since. Like, I haven't played any video games. It's just been work and sleep and all that fun stuff. So today I went to go and I wanted to go and do an update because there were some updates released for Schedule 1. There were some updates released for this, for that. So I went on there to go on Steam and force the updates through because tomorrow's Friday, which means I'm streaming tomorrow night and I'm streaming Saturday night. So I wanted to make sure that everything was up to date. And that's when I noticed my keyboard wasn't working. I unplugged unplugged the keyboard from the computer, plugged it back in, and it turned on right away because of selective USB suspend. Sure enough, I checked the friggin' power settings in Windows and USB suspend was set to true. This is probably what was causing the old Logitech C920 to basically cut out. Now, when I used to stream back in the day, I was able to get a green screen behind me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that off while streaming video games. And literally behind me is just a wall and like a monitor, my test bench for doing tech troubleshooting. If somebody brings a computer over, I can plug it in quickly there and do some troubleshooting on the fly and not have to like dismantle my workstation or my gaming station so I can have somewhere to plug in a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor. That's what I was doing prior. I was literally hooking up. I would like disconnect the gaming PC and then plug in the computer I'm working on in there and do what I got to do, and then disconnect it, rehook up the gaming PC and go from there. And I don't like doing that. I'd rather have a dedicated station. Well, I had that spare Acer monitor from when I bought the Asus 1440p monitor. So I figured, you know what? Seeing how I took the spray paint booth out of the room because, well, frig, what do I need it for? The damn compressor it came with is way too low volume to move any paint through the gun. I might as well just, if I'm going to make lures in the winter, print them off in the winter, do a float test in like a bucket of water or something in the house. Somebody mentioned filling the bathtub, but like seriously guys, we pay by the volumetric, like the meter cubed of water used. I'm not about to fill up my bathtub with water just to pull a lure across it and then drain it. It's going to cost me like $5 in water probably to fill that tub. Guy's driving a dirty old Buick. Look at that thing. Thing's dope. How come we didn't get the advanced screen? Stupid lights, man. They're so dumb. And watch now, just as the storm of cars that were coming ends, they frickin' turns to red. Like, son of a bitch. But yeah, so I set up a test bench so I can do some work on other computers. And if I have something I need to work on, like for instance, I want to get the XPS 9000 out and plug it in and see if I can get that up and running. Probably sell it. What am I going to do with a first generation i7 920? Like, there's no point in keeping it. Sell it for a couple hundy. Somebody can turn it into a Linux box. Jam some. Right now it's got the old NVIDIA 550 in there. The card that I bought for the XPS 8300 back in the day. The old 550 Ti with its whopping probably 2 gigs of VRAM. I don't even know how much RAM that thing came with. Haven't used that card in freaking dog's ear. Holy shit. Don't screw you. I'm just gonna jump in front of you. Walmart is busier than it's not even busy. The problem with Walmart right now is they're repaving the entire parking lot. As you can see, the road is closed up here. They're repaving the entire parking lot. On top of that, they got all this stupid mulch and shit in the parking lot, prime parking location with garden center junk. Frig off, man. They're just gonna pave the parking lot. Winter's gonna hit. All the rocks underneath the parking lot are gonna lift and blow right through it and ruin it. And they'll have to repave it again in no time. Anyway, guys, I'm at Walmart. I'm gonna run inside, grab my shit. I'll be right back. Holy crap, is it busy in there? But luckily they are working on the parking lot. They've already got lines down, so that's kind of cool, right? Anyway, let's see if we can get the hell out of here. See, I don't know why they didn't leave this entrance open so people can get out really quickly. Like, they wasted enough money on that material they laid down there. Why not just leave that open? But anyway, guys, I went and checked out the fishing section. They had a few rig options, so I grabbed a bunch. I grabbed some T rigs, or what are they called? Pickrol Rigs. And then I grabbed something called a bottom bouncer. It looked pretty cool. Looked like something that would be great for catfishing, if anything, because the weight sits on the bottom. Your bait sits about a foot up, and they're cheap. They're by Danielson, mind you. And I know Daniel's Son hooks are pretty much paper mache, like holy frig. They're more flexible than house wire. But it was like $2. You get 2 of them, big massive weight on the end of it, ready to rock. So I got 4 Pickrol rigs. I bought 2 packs of 2. They're $1.67 a shot. That's not too bad. It's not too bad for a rig. It's way more convenient to buy them than it is to build them. But knowing how to build them, if they work, then why not just manufacture your own baits, right? If you have the materials, just get it done. But yeah, friggin' Walmart was stacked today. But while I was there, I saw they had the Ugly Stick GX2 spinning rod. So I looked at that one just in case. Like, I'm gonna, before I even consider taking the Quantum down to Blokes, I'm gonna fish with it here so that if it does break, I'm in a controlled environment. Because last time when I was trying to get a fishing rod while down there, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Like, we want to fish from morning till close, like morning till the end. And the stores in London are pretty crazy with their hours. Like they got 3 Canadian Tires. One closes at 6, one closes at 8, one closes at 9. The fishing shop is only open till 4 on the weekends. Like they have their London something fishing. I can't remember the name of it, but Bloke and I've been there before and we bought some tackle. The first time I went down, we went and checked that place out and we bought some Senkos and stuff. That was when he's like, you're not gonna catch a fish with that 5-inch worm. I had a Senko on an EWG Texas rigged. And he's like, you're not gonna catch anything with that. And sure enough, I catch a fat tank and he's like, okay, because that's when he was just float fishing and he was catching fish, but they were just, you know, nothing to write home about, little puddle jumpers. So then I pull in Big Bertha and he's like, all right, so I need that. So he went and got some EWGs and some Senkos, and now he showed me his bait when I was last at his house. Guys, I thought I had a lot of shit. I think Bloke's got me beat, and I'm pretty sure that any type of fishing he wants to do, whether he knows it exists or not, he has the equipment at home to do it. So that's pretty sweet. Also, I found my bite alarm. I wish I would have had that when I was down there last, so I could have tested it out to see if it actually works. But that's fine. I'll stick it on the carp rod, on the carp and cat rod, and then that way there I'll have it on there. So when next time we go carp fishing, probably next time I'm down, we might hit up that same spot we went to last time and see if we can get on a whopper of a carp. They should be out of spawn by then, hopefully, and then we can put a hurt on some dirty, stinky carp. But yeah, I got 10 minutes before I got to be back, logged in. I just took a quick lunch break to go to Walmart and get those things. I want to take a better look at a Pickrol rig. I saw what it looked like from afar, and what I showed you, what I built, is my rendition of a Pickrol rig, which is probably really wrong. But honestly, if it works and if it catches fish, is it wrong? Like, if it's stupid but it works, is it wrong? And the answer is no. Like, everybody makes fun of a redneck for doing crazy fixes on things, and well, that's not how it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to do it like this. But did it work? Did anybody die? Both answers come back as no, then don't freaking worry about what I do. That's what I always say about redneck engineering. Might not be the prettiest, but if it holds up, then is it a real big deal? Probably not. I'm thinking on Sunday, because Saturday I'm pretty much busy. Sunday we're gonna tackle that car. Atmospheric pressure just dropped, so expect freaking rain again. Oh, they didn't take my 1 box of Mio. What a bunch of dick anuses. Why didn't they take that? Nothing wrong with it. Perfectly recyclable. It's cardboard. Oh well, they'll get it next time. I'll see them in 2 weeks. But before I go inside, I'm also working on another project while I wait for people to ask me questions about things. I'm working on fixing my gaming desk, and I just need a little piece of wood, probably about this size. Problem is these cheap Swiss-made desks that you buy at like Walmart or Staples or whatever the case may be, they literally use a cardboard base on the bottom of the drawer that just fits into the seams, but it's not secured by any means necessary. So kind of hoping to find a piece of square stock in here somewhere that I can use as a brace underneath it, because right now the whole bottom bevels down and everything just falls out. So I'm guessing this is my only option. This will work, I think. Probably not. If this was like a half of what it is, it would work. So I was kind of hoping for a piece of like 1 inch by 1 inch Could always chop a dowel down and do it. Because I'm debating on just jamming a screw into the side and a screw into the side to hold it upright. But I'm running low on time. That'll do just fine. I'll clean that up in the house. Anyway, let's go over to the truck, grab my shit, lock it up, head inside, carry on with the remainder of this shift. Then tomorrow's Friday. And then I get to stream again and play video games and go fishing and do martial arts and paint the car and drive it more. You know, fun stuff. All right, guys, so I showed you the rig that I got, and this is what I picked up from Walmart. It was $1, 97 cents for some half-ounce sinkers. So I bought 2 bags of those. There's 3 per bag, so I guess 33 cents a piece. I couldn't find mine, so I bought some more of these swivel clasps, barrel swivel clasps, whatever. And this is what they call a pickerel rig or a walleye still. Let me just go ahead and we'll take one out here and I'll show you what a real one looks like after showing you my fake one. I believe you get 2 of them in here. So these are solid steel. Nope, you only get 1. I thought you got 2, but it's actually just 1. All right, okay. So I'm guessing, I'm not even sure how to hook this up to the line. I'm guessing it hooks up like this to your line. You would tie on right there onto this barrel swivel. And then you have these things, these wires that just spin along this cable. And then the same on the bottom, you have another one. So I got to attach hooks on those with line. And then on the bottom here, you attach your weight, which looks to me like it's one of those clasps, but it's designed to easily give away if you snag the weight. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really have much information on it except for how to tie off, and it's showing the tie off on the barrel swivel. So this end is meant for the weight. And then this here will just sit on the bottom of the water doing its thing, spinning away with your bait, and then fishy comes along, takes the bait, and boom shakalaka. Om nom time. So yeah, it's one of them. I thought there was 2 in here, but guess not. Guess not. It's a good thing I did buy 2, because I actually did buy, doesn't it say quantity of 2? No, it's just, I bought 2 anyway, so I'll have a backup in case I snag and lose one. So, might as well chuck that in the garbage because I don't need that. Then I saw, did I buy any hooks? I have hooks, so it's not a big deal. Then I saw these things by Danielson. They're bottom walker sinkers. So, interesting product. Well, that's not supposed to be like that, mind you, but we can just disconnect that real quick. Literally, it sits in the water like this with the weight down, and this here little tip bounce along the bottom. Up here you have a clasp on a swivel to attach a bait, and then you tie off right here. So when you're pulling it through the waterway, this part here is bound. Somebody's out there riding a moped. This here will bounce off the bottom of the lake with a big weight on it. And up here will stay well above the water column and do flippy flappy stuff while hopefully attracting a bite. I'm probably going to try this as well. Different rigs to try while we're out there, right? So I'll just chuck this back in the bag. Apparently these are also good for catfishing. Something else to keep in mind if I decide to go out and go after some kitty cats, we have a way. Yeah, I thought there was 2 in there, and it turns out there's just 1. So this should be interesting. We'll get this all rigged up for Saturday, and then we'll send it out and see how well that does. I've never used a walleye rig, but it doesn't look too difficult. Just bait it, send it, let it sit, something will eat, reel it in. Fishy. Doesn't get any simpler than that. And the reason why I bought the heavy sinkers, the half-ouncers, was for that exact reason, that I wanted to sit on the bottom and not get pushed around with the current. So yeah, guys, I think this is going to be an interesting strategy. So on Saturday night, we're going to go for the walleye bite, try and catch some keepers. If we do, we'll keep them. If we don't, well, if we catch anything, that's awesome. Keep in mind the slot size for nipissing is really tight. It's 40 to 45 centimeters. I believe that turns into like 15.5 inches to 16.75. I could be wrong, but it's a very narrow window that we're allowed to keep at a nipissing. So they do have a measuring tape on the dock itself that has a green spot on it. You just flatten the tail out, put it up against it, and if it's in the green, the fish is clean. So should be a good time. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you've used a walleye rig or a pickerel rig or a walleye, whatever the hell they called it. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your experience with it, because I'd like to hear that. And until next time, guys, live it to win it. Peace the frig out. Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.